feels ludicrous to think that just 3 years ago, the Atlanta Hawks were 2 wins away from a finals appearance. Things change a lot in 3 years, and any hope that Hawks fans may have had from that time period has vanished into thin air. The Atlanta Hawks are truly a broken mess right now, and something has gotta give. Since that Eastern Conference Finals appearance, the team has gotten bounced in the first round in back-to-back years, and they followed that up by getting eliminated from the play-in by the Chicago Bulls. This team is stuck in basketball hell currently, and that's funny considering they got eliminated by a team that's equally as stuck in basketball hell as the Bulls. The team I root for. Wonder who's responsible for that. Anyways, it's not like this is unfamiliar territory for the Hawks, seeing how for most of their history, they have been painfully mid. And whenever they're having a great season, chances are they're just going to get overshadowed by a more dominant team in the East. But to get a true perspective of what the Hawks need to do right now, let's focus on the present day. And as for the present day, let's start with their performance against the Bulls. To cut to the chase, everyone outside of Murray and Bogdanovich no-showed, with the most egregious offenders no doubt being Trae Young and DeAndre Hunter, who both shot a combined 7 for 28 from the field and had a combined plus-minus of minus 45. But it wasn't just the numbers that told the story, as all you had to do was watch the game briefly to see just how piss poor the effort was from Atlanta. Look, the Chicago Bulls are as mid can come, but they're a scrappy team that doesn't give up. They played very hard all game and did the right things needed to win this game. The Hawks, on the other hand, showed none of that. Defensively, a JUCO basketball team would show more effort than the Hawks showed during that game. That fourth quarter was a team waving the white flag, just begging for Kobe White to destroy them.
Fried catfish, yams, collard greens, mac and cheese, cornbread. These are braised oxtail, and these are neck bone. And so normally that's what I do. Anytime I'm in Indy, I always come see my girl.
And yes, I understand the Hawks were short-handed, but that doesn't excuse just how piss poor their effort was. And speaking of that, we might as well get into the roster construction, because holy hell, this is a botched job. Look, I don't care how many injuries you have. If you only have one guy that's taller than 6'9" available for consistent minutes, you have done an awful job at finding big men. It's made even worse when you consider that guy is Clint Capella, and, well, he isn't what he was in Houston. And with his contract expiring next season, I have no doubt the Hawks are going to look to trade him this offseason. Obviously, if you're talking about the Hawks and their upcoming offseason plans, then you have to address the elephant in the room. What happens with Trae Young and DeJounte Murray? It's inevitable that one of them are going to get traded this offseason. Question is who? Trae is the younger guy, but his contract is bigger than Murray, and he's had some rumored disputes with the Hawks over his tenure. Murray, on the other hand, is the more consistent player, but he doesn't have Trae Young's ceiling, and it'd be easier for the Hawks to move on from him. I can understand both sides of the argument in terms of who the Hawks will move on from, but something just tells me they're going to trade Murray back to San Antonio. And yeah, if you haven't been paying attention, the Spurs have been linked to both of them. It feels inevitable. The Spurs are going to get one of Trae Young or DeJounte Murray. But regardless of what happens, I don't think Trae or DeJounte are the biggest issues the Hawks have. Let's talk about their bench. Now look, I don't want to call this Hawks bench horrible for the sole fact that they have Bogdanovich and Onyeka, but when I look at this Hawks team, there are only 8 truly caliber players on this team, and the moment the floor falls through, it falls deep. Just look at this. And when you consider the constant rotation of injuries the Hawks have had, there are times when the Hawks will have as little as 6 caliber guys available to play. That's not a formula built for success, Atlanta. So I feel the biggest need for the Hawks this season is add more to the bench, because you can't be going down this route for yet another season. To close this video out on a positive note, I do want to give praise to the players I do like on this team. Saddiq Bey is always a guy you'd want to have on your team, and his presence was greatly missed for Atlanta during the play-in. Same with Jalen Johnson, who is having a breakout season before injuries slowed him down. Bogdanovich is one of my favorite bench players in the league who always knows his role and does it well. And it's worth noting that while I do think he could be doing a better job in Atlanta, I still think Quinn Snyder is a good coach and not the issue that the Hawks have with this team. The team needs a better roster, no question about it. And the day they start improving things, I do feel like you'll see the benefits that come with having Snyder at the helm. Just give him a better roster. However, it does need to be said, for the love of God, Quinn, please work on that defense, cause yikes. Yikes. At the end of the day though, it will all come down to the front office and ownership, who both need to get their act together. Hawks usually don't spend a lot in free agency, and look, I'm not expecting them to get guys like LeBron James or Paul George, but just get some new blood that will improve your team, especially for the bench. And that new blood also applies to drafting, which, okay, maybe the less said about that the better. Either way, the Hawks have a lot of work to do, because the current state of things for them is just unacceptable. Anyways, I don't know how to end this, so